to study the relationship, or we can able to measure the extent of covariance between the two variables, and also the relationship between these two variables can be measured under one single figure. And also this it is also helpful for the future values of the variables. And with the help of this correlation, we see the business people can able to estimate what is the cost of production, what are the sales, what are the prices, based on the cause and effect of the variables which is going to be happening in the future. And also it is going to predict the economic variables which are dependent on some other variables. Let us will come across what are the different types of correlation. So we know that there are 5 types. One is the positive and negative correlation. Another one is simple and multiple correlation. Then partial and linear correlation. The fourth one is linear and non-linear. And the last one is logical and illogical correlation. What do you mean by this positive and negative correlation? We know that positive correlation is nothing but the correlation where both the variables are moving in the same direction. Either it is moving in the positive direction, or it has to move in the, either it will move in the in, yeah, either it is going to be moving in upward direction, or it is moving in the downward direction. Then such kind of correlation is called as positive correlation. Means the movement of direction should be on the same, it should either in the upward direction or it has to be in the downward direction. Such kind of correlation is called as positive correlation. Coming towards the other type of correlation, that is called as negative correlation. So we can see very easily that negative means the directions are different. If one variable is moving upward direction, means the another one variable it is moving in the downward direction. Then such kind of correlation is called as negative correlation, or we can say very easily that the movement of the variables direction, the movement of variables are moving in the opposite direction. That is called as negative correlation. Let us will go for the second category, that is called as simple correlation and multiple correlation. What do you mean by this simple correlation? Simple correlation is nothing but only two variables are involved in the study. When you are going to have a study in a statistics, when we are going to have a study of only two variables, only two factors, when we are going to have under our study, then such kind of correlation is called as simple correlation. Multiple is nothing but many number of variables. Is nothing but when we are going to have under our study, if it is three or more variables or more than that. So such kind of correlation is called as multiple correlation, where we are going to come across the number of variables are considered under our study, that is called as multiple correlation. If we are going to have a study of only two variables, then it is called as a simple correlation. Let us will go for the third one, that is called as partial and total correlation. In case of partial correlation, when there are more than two variables and the relationship of any two of the variables is studied. See, in case of multiple correlation, number of variables will be there. We are going to have a study. We are going to have all the variables under our study. But in the case of partial correlation, the number of variables will be more. But when we are going to have under our study, we are going to consider any two variables. A part of the variables are being considered for our study, that is called as partial correlation. For example, we can able to see that we study the relationship between the rainfall and crop yielding. So without going to consider the other factors, that is relating to the fertilizers, maybe the method of cultivation or the usage of the pesticides, but we are going to have the relationship results in only the partial correlation. And the next type is called as the total correlation. In case of total correlation, when the correlation between all the variables under the study are taken together for measuring covariance, when you are going to consider all the variables for the measurement of covariance, then such kind of correlation is called as total correlation. And the next type or the category that is called as linear and non-linear correlation. What do you mean by this linear correlation? If the change in linear, if the change in one variable is accompanied by the change in another variable in a constant ratio, be clear that the ratio is constant. The change of one variable, it affects the change of another variable also. The ratio between the variations, it should be constant. So such kind of correlation, that is called as linear correlation. But in case of non-linear correlation, the amount of change in one variable does not follow a constant ratio with the change in another variable. It is quite opposite to the linear correlation. If there is a constant ratio of changes, if it is happening between the variables, it is called as linear correlation. If there is no constant ratio between the variables, it is called as non-linear correlation. The last one is called as logical correlation as well as illogical correlation. What do you mean by this logical correlation? When the correlation between two variables is not only mathematically defined but also logically sound, it is called as logical correlation. And for example, when we'll say that the correlation between the price and demand for a product, between the price of petrol and the sale of vehicles, is it not logical? It is a logical. When we'll say if the price of petrol increases, then we can able to say the sales of the vehicles may decreases, or the sale of vehicles can able to see it is in the increasing due to the price of petrol is decreased. That is called as logical correlation. When there is having some logic where we can able to define mathematically, or it is sound in the case of logical, that is called as logical correlation. And the next one is called as illogical correlation. Illogical correlation is nothing but it is not the correlation between two unrelated variables. Be clear that the variables are not relating to each other. So that is called as illogical correlation, where we can't able to define mathematically and it is not logically sound. Unrelated variables. We can able to see very clearly that, for example, the purchasing of mobile phones are high, right? The purchasing of mobile phones are high is due to rainfall. No, it is illogical. There are the variables are two variables are unrelated to each other. Due to heavy rainfall, we are not going to purchase the mobile phones. We can have the relationship of rainfall towards the crop, not with the mobile phones or the sales of mobile phones. Very clear, they are called as illogical correlation. So when we are going to measure this correlation, the degree of correlation, to what extent we can able to interpret between this correlation coefficient, the correlation we are going to have, that is called as Corey-Pearson correlation. So here the correlation coefficient, when we are going to occur the results, how to interpret it? And we say that R is equals to +1. What does it indicate? It is called as perfect positive correlation. When we are getting the negative value, the value of R, it is called as exactly -1. If it is exact +1, it is called as perfect positive correlation. If exact -1, it is called as perfect negative correlation. When we are going to write our inference or interpretation between the two variables, we have to write a sentence whether how these two variables are correlated, whether they are positively correlated or perfectly positive correlated or perfect negative correlated. And the next is when they are going to have a range between +0.75 and within +1, then it is called as high degree positive correlation. If it is the value of R is falling in the range of -0.75 and -1, then it is called as high degree negative correlation. If the value of R falls in the range of positive, that is +0.252 to +0.75, it is called as moderate degree positive. If it is having a negative value, the range, that is -0.25 and -0.75, it is falling in the range, then it is called as moderate degree negative correlation. If the value of R is in between, that is 0, it is not plus, it is 0 itself is, and plus 0.25. This is start from the positive way from 0 to 0.25. It is called as low degree positive correlation. If the value of R is 0 to minus 0.25, it is called low degree negative correlation. If we are getting the value of R is equals to 0, then we'll say it is called as no correlation. In case of correlation, we are going to have different methods, but according to your syllabus, you have to study only the Carl Pearson's coefficient of correlation as well as Spearman's rank correlation in your syllabus. There are 5 methods of correlation. One is scatter diagram method, graphic method, Carl Pearson coefficient of correlation, Spearman's rank correlation, current deviation method. Hello, dear students, mute your phone. But in your syllabus, you have to study only Carl Pearson coefficient of correlation and the Spearman's rank correlation. What is this Carl Pearson coefficient of correlation? Carl Pearson coefficient of correlation is being measured with small r. Dear students, kindly mute your audio as well as video. It is a kind of disturbance. Thank you. See, this Pearson's coefficient correlation is a measure where we can able to measure the statistical relationship between two continuous variables which are giving the information about the magnitude of the associations as well as the direction of the relationship. We know that the variations between the two variables which is going to happen, the extent of which or the degree of which, to what extent the relationship is going to be measured, it is being measured with the formula by using the Carl Pearson's coefficient of correlation. So in case of that, we are going to have the deviations both from the actual mean as well as from the assumed mean. In case of actual mean, what is the formula that we are going to use? That is R is equals to sigma xy. In case of correlation, we are considering all deviation values only. We are not at all considering for the formula the actual values. Be clear. This xy is also the deviation value. The x square and y square is also deviation of x to the squaring those deviation, and y, that is squaring of those deviation of y values. Means actual mean method how to calculate means where x, that is deviation of x, is nothing but x minus x mean. See, we know that in the formula we know x and y variables. The total of x will be used for the calculation of x mean, that is x mean equals sigma x by n. That the x mean value we are going to deduct with the actual values of x, x minus x mean. In the same manner, for the calculation of y also, we are going to total all the values of the y variables, then it will become sigma y. Then sigma y divided by n will get the actual mean of y, that is y minus y mean. So this is how we should calculate the x and y values. So what are the steps that to calculate these values means? First we have to calculate the actual means for the two series. Then later on we have to take the deviations both for x as well as y. X is nothing but x minus mean, y is nothing but y minus mean. And to that x we should square it. That is, one will get x square, another one will be y square. Then we have to find out one more column of a product of deviations of x and y. Already we have calculated x deviation and y deviation. Those two values should be multiplied, it will become xy. Then we should use this formula, that is R equals sigma xy divided by root of sigma x square by sigma y square. Let us will see one of the problem here, how to calculate this correlation coefficient by using the actual mean method. See, in the examination specifically they will not ask. See the question, so which is relating whether it is for 8 marks or 15 marks. Follow the steps and calculate. If it is mentioned clearly means you have to follow the same method. If not means you can go up whichever you feel comfortable. So here there is a question that find the correlation coefficient between sales and advertising expenditure from the following data. So these are the values which has been given, that is sales in the form of lakhs, rupees in lakhs, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72 and 73. And also relating to the expenses of advertising, they have given the form of thousands, it is 66, 67, 64, 67, 71, 69, 70, 68 and 70. Now we have to decide how many columns has to be framed. First one will be, let us will consider the sales be as X value and advertisement expenditure be as Y value. So it will be a 2 columns. Then deviation of X has to be done with the help of using actual mean. X equals X minus mean, 1 column. Y equals Y minus mean, another 1 column. 4 columns got over. And the next one is x square, we should do another one y square. The deviation of x, that is called as x square, deviation of y, when you square it, it will become y square. Then total 6. The last column is xy. The product of deviations of x and y will be the last columns. Here we have framed the columns. One is x column, another one is y. So here we have taken sales column be as x and advertising expenses be as the y column. X value, the deviation of x we have calculated. Either you can write dx or you can write small x. It is nothing but actual x values minus x bar. X bar means we need to calculate summation x divided by n. We'll get the value, that is the mean value we are going to get. In the same form, y value also. So total all the y values here we got 612, the sigma x is 621. Then we need to calculate x mean and y mean. X mean and y mean is nothing but here we have calculated here x mean equals sigma x by n, that is 621 divided by 9. The value of x mean is 69 and y mean is 6 sigma y divided by n, it is 612 divided by number of items, that is 68. So this has been considered for the deviation columns. So here small x has to be calculated. It is nothing but x minus x mean. X mean value we calculated here, that is 69, y mean is 68, has to be considered for the calculation. Let us will calculate this sigma x, deviation of x column. So here x is 65, all x bar values are 69. Deduct all the x values 65, 66, 67 with which number means with x bar. 65 minus 69, 69 minus 69, 67 minus 69. All the values of x should be deducted with x bar. Then we are going to get the values of deviation of x, that is minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then this value should be square it, because we know the formula, that is nothing but sigma xy divided by root of sigma x square into y square. So we need to calculate the x square value. Multiply minus 4 into minus 4 will get the 16, minus 3 into minus 3 is 9, 2 into 2 is 4, 1, 0, 1, 4, 9, 16. Then total this deviation of x and y total doesn't require to substitute in the formula, but for the case of x square we require, that is sigma x square equals 60. In the same manner, calculate the value of deviation of y value, that is small y minus y mean. Y, all the actual values of y here should be deducted with what? The mean value, that is 68. 66 minus 68, 67 minus 68, 64 minus 68, all the values of y values, it should be deducted with the y mean value, that is 68. Then we are going to get the deviation of y, that is minus 2, minus 1, minus 4, minus 1, 3, 1, 2, 0 and 2. Then square this one, square it, you will get y square. The total of y square is 40. And one more column has to be calculated to substitute in the formula, that is x into y. So in the formula we know that sigma xy divided by root sigma x square into y square. This numerator value should be calculated here. Xy means deviation, not the actual values. Actual values are x and y, what they have given in the question, but it is not what we calculated the deviation, that is minus 4 into minus 2. Minus into minus become plus, 4 into 2 is 8. Minus 3 into minus 1 is 3. Minus 2 into minus 4 is 8. Minus 1 into minus 1 is 1. 0 into how much? Here it is 3, 0. Then 1 into 1 is 1. 2 into 4. Here this is 2 and this is 2, 4. 3 into 0 is 0. 4 into 2 is 8. Total sigma xy is 36. So this is how to calculate the values which has to be substituted in the formula. So here we have substituted, that is r equals sigma xy divided by root of sigma x square into y square. Sigma xy value in the table we calculated, that is 33. We have substituted root of the total sigma x square is 40, sigma y square is 60 and 40. Substituted here 60 and 40. 33 divided by 60 into 40 is 2400. Remove the square root, we'll get 48.99. Then divide 33 divided by 48.99. We are getting the positive correlation because it is indicating plus sign, that is 0.6736. So this is how to calculate correlation. But in case if they are going to ask in the question, interpret, you should write under which range it is going to fall this answer. You know that already we have seen the table, that is the range. From which range it is falling means we can see very easily, it is 0.6736, 0.6736. Here it is falling moderate degree positive correlation. See here the table, you can interpret very easily. When the range is positive, it starts from 0.25 to 0.75, but our answer is 0.67. See here 6736, then we call it as moderate positive. First of all, it is positive moderate degree positive correlation. This is how to calculate with the help of actual mean. And see the one more question they are given, calculate Carl Pearson's correlation coefficient from the following data. Very specifically they'll mention Carl Pearson coefficient of correlation. If they are going to mention Spearman's, means it is rank correlation, you have to calculate according to the ranking method, but here we have calculated according to the Carl Pearson's correlation coefficient. So in this we have used actual mean method. So this is the second question, that is relating to the price as well as demand. So the price values they have given 21 up to 29, and the demand in the form of 1000 units, it is 20, 19, 19, then 17, 17, 16, 15 and 14. Same manner in the actual mean method we are calculating, we need to frame the table. One is x value, another one is the y value, third one will be the small x, that is deviation values has to be calculated, then x square, then deviation y value, this is, then y square, then xy. Total how many columns here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For the calculation of actual mean method in the case of correlation, you need to have a table of 7 columns. Then you substitute all the values of x as well as y given in the question. Here 22, 23, 24, 25 up to 29. The total it will become sigma x, that is 225. In the same manner, y values 20, 19, 19, 17. Then the total will be 153. Then do the deviations. Deviation is nothing but we need to calculate the actual mean values for this question. So sigma x we have seen in this table, that is 225. Then the total number of items are 9. Then we will get the actual mean value is 25. In the same manner, sigma y value is 153. Then total it, we get 153 divided by number of items is 9. The value of y is 17. So with the help of these 25 and 17, we need to do the deviations. 21 minus 25, 22 minus 25. We are going to get the values. We are getting the values, that is minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then square it, we'll get the 16. Minus 3 into minus 3, 9. Minus 2 into minus 2 is 4. 1 into 1 is minus 1 into minus 1 will become plus 1. So these are the values, will total it will become sigma x square equals 60. In the same manner, calculate the deviation values of y. Here the actual mean is 17. Do the actual, the deviation values has to be calculated. Y minus y mean. Actual values are 20. Then minus 17, we'll get 3. 19 minus 17, 2. 19 minus 17 is 2. Here 17 minus 17, 0. Again 17 minus 17 is 0. 16 minus 17 is minus 1. Again minus 1. 15 minus 17 is minus 2. 14 minus 17 is minus 3. Then square it all the y values. What we have Done. For the calculation of deviation, that is 9, 4, 4, then 1, 1, 4 and 9, total it will be sigma y square. Then we have to multiply the deviation of x and deviation of y. Minus 4 into 3. Multiply signs first, then next you do the total multiply. Minus into plus is minus, 4 into 3 is 12. Minus 3 into minus plus 2, minus 6, minus 2 into 2 is minus 4. Minus 1 into 0 is 0, then 0, 1 into minus 1 is minus 1, 2 into minus 5 is minus 2. Then we'll get the total value of sigma xy is 43. Then we need to substitute these values in the formula for the calculation of correlation. That is sigma xy divided by root of sigma x square into sigma y square. It is nothing but sigma xy. Total is minus 43. Substitute the value. Root of 60 into 32, that is x square into y square. Sigma x square is 60, y square is 32. Substitute, then remove the square root, multiply, then remove the square root. Then we are getting the negative correlation, that is minus 0.9813. Now we should see under which range the table, we know that which range the correlation is going to be falling here. Just to check out, we know that it is a negative because minus sign is indicating. We need to see that what is the range of correlation here. Negative means, now we can able to see very clearly with the help of answer, that is exists a high degree negative correlation between the price and demand. So this is how we need to calculate for the, in case of actual mean method. There are some of the two problems you people need to calculate that how according to the actual mean method only. You can post it, the answers to me in the WhatsApp group. Hello? Have you people understood? Somebody have raised the question. May I know is any question? Any questions from the students? Hello? Hello, dear students, have you followed?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you followed? Okay, dear students,
Yes, ma'am.
I'll send the same slides to you. You can copy this group only, and also the videos what we have uploaded so far. You can watch it once again, or you can see just the slides. You people may understood this. Okay. Okay. We'll see in the next meeting. Okay. Have you followed? If any doubts are there, you can post it in the WhatsApp group where you are finding difficult to understand. It is only the actual mean method what we have calculated. Okay. Okay, these are the two questions. You copy down all these things in your notes. So it will be very useful because you don't know, in WhatsApp group also sometimes it may get deleted also. If you copy, it will be very useful to you. Thank you, ma'am. We'll see you once again tomorrow. Right?
Welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.